A beautiful fairy tale with mature twists. What up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. I am your host, MICFURY, and I make informative videos just like this one. So please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future content. And with that being said, guys, here's my review for Wytchwood. Wytchwood is a beautiful adventure game with a dual focus on crafting and fairy tales. You play as a old witch tasked with saving a damsel in distress, a certain sleeping beauty, if you will. To do so, you must find the necessary ingredients, 12 souls. So, with grimoire in hand, you're off to experiment, explore, and enjoy a wonderful world with wondrous characters. Low points. So, as per usual, no voice acting, so we have a little bit of reading to do, and I'm actually glad that even though it's revolved around fairy tales and the story, it's told in a very fast-paced manner. Like, you won't be spending 30 minutes on text boxes or anything like that. So definitely it's a low point, but then at the same time, I'm glad that there's a little bit of reading to be done. And finally, for the low points, it is a bit repetitive since the crafting and collecting and actually identifying materials and ingredients throughout the world, it is part of the core gameplay, and therefore you're going to be doing it throughout the whole game. So eventually you're going to hit that wall where, okay, I'm kind of getting tired of this mundane, you know, go ahead and look at this particular character. Let's see the weakness. So therefore I can craft the weakness and get the recipe out and then rehash and reforth and, like, you know, so on and so forth. It does get a bit repetitive. Midpoints. So the core gameplay loop itself is a midpoint, mainly because of a couple of things I will mention in a bit, but the core gameplay loop is 75% of the time you're going to spend exploring, gathering ingredients, crafting the necessary tools for the given task, and therefore expanding your grimoire little by little. Think of a less darker, less violent Don't Starve, if you've ever played that game, which is phenomenal, by Clay Entertainment. It's a little bit of that. And then the other 25% of the time you're going to be doing quests, interacting with characters, and the issue here is, what the main issue and why it lands on a mid and it's not a high point, is because it can be a little tedious. Like I mentioned earlier, it's part of the repetitiveness. The rarer ingredients don't appear as often, therefore you got to work twice as hard to kind of get them, and it's meant to be that way. But again, that also brings a negative, like everything in life does. There's always a positive and a negative to things, but that's, like I said, that is a little detail right there on how exactly it will become tedious for you. Now, apart from that, I also love the fact that the whole entire world is revolved around this weakness recipe mechanic, where you have to basically use your witch sense or your witch vision, and you actually get to scan the world, and each and every single creature, each and every single plant has a weakness, and therefore you must exploit that weakness to get the actual ingredient or material from said creature, animal, or plant. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And lastly, my last midpoint would be the audio. Now, I think the audio is great. It fits the setting. The soundtrack is absolutely beautiful. I enjoyed it, especially how each and every single area has these different tracks and these different tunes that make it like they fit hand in glove. It's so perfect, and I enjoyed it. But again, it lands on the midpoint because of the lack of voice acting. So I still believe that the special effects, I still believe that the soundtrack itself and the tunes, they're all great, but I have to ding it a couple of points because of the fact that it doesn't have voice acting. It's still a great audio experience, by the way, but it lands on the midpoints for me. So on to the high points. Let's start off with the story. I love it. It's simple. It's not overly complex. It does have some depth with a couple of dark themes here and there, and it also pays these homages to folk tales and fables that we have heard in our informative years. For example, there's this one bar where there's this big bad wolf, and then there's a piggy in a red hood. Obviously, it's combining the Three Little Pigs storyline with the Red Riding Hood storyline and combining them together, where the wolf is the main antagonist in both. And then apart from that, obviously the first one you're gonna notice is the fact that instead of Snow White and the 12 Dwarves, you have Sleeping Maiden, or again grabbing Sleeping Beauty, and Sleeping Maiden with the 12 souls instead of the 12 doors. So it's combining Snow White and Sleeping Beauty into one. I absolutely thought that this was a great way to actually tell this story, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. My last high point is the presentation. The storybook art style, the amazing colors, they all pop. The different biomes that are a joy to explore, and not only bring the new environments, but they also bring different challenges, different creatures, different characters to interact with, the different ingredients and materials that you can find. It's all great. It is extremely detailed. It reaches almost, like the closest thing to Ori and the Blind Forest and Will-O-the-Wisp levels of graphics. Like, this is one of the best looking games of 2021, at least from an artistic perspective. Like, I absolutely love this. Wytchwood is breathtaking. It's beautiful. Like, it's just it's a joy to look at. It's just what it is. It's a joy to look at. And each and every single frame, again, like Ori and the Blind Forest, is basically a wallpaper. That's how it is. I think that's the biggest, I guess, compliment you can pay an artistic game, a game like of this magnitude, of this artistic magnitude. It's the best compliment you could give it, that each and every single frame is actually a wallpaper. In conclusion, Wytchwood is a beautiful indie game. Its presentation alone is well worth the asking price, but its charm, its source material, and story make it well worth your time. The final score for Wytchwood is a 9 out of 10. Is it fun? Is it worth it? And is it for you? Let's go ahead and answer those 3 questions. Is it fun? Yes, it's fun. If you enjoy games like Don't Starve, definitely go ahead. It's a crafting adventure game focused on crafting, adventure, and folktales. Go ahead and try it out. Is it worth it? It's $20. And like I mentioned earlier in the Bright Memory Infinite video, there's a lot of games with a lot of good content for $20. This is another one added to that $20 bunch. It's just a fun time and an enjoyable time while you're here, while it lasts. And it is pretty lengthy. It's not a short game whatsoever. And then finally, is it for you? Like I said, if you like fairy tales, if you like crafting games, if you like adventure games with lighthearted elements to it, if you like games like Don't Starve, this is right up your alley. And that is it for today, guys. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. If you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button and make sure to use the links down in the description below. If you're going to buy anything on an Epic store, have an Epic creator code, and if you're going to use Amazon, make sure to use the links. It supports the channel and it costs you absolutely nothing. But anyways, you guys can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Links are down in the description below, along with my Patreon. Do consider supporting me there. $1 a day keeps the landlord away. I'm your host, MICFURY. It's been a complete pleasure. Until next time, Mike, off.